Hello, I'm Emily Edwards, an intern with Klamath Film, and what you just watched was Four Tracks, a compelling documentary short film in our Northern Shorts K through 12 student category. With today is the film director Ken Dotke. Ken, what it's nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I see that you're still a high schooler and you decided to make
Yep.
a documentary about music. Why did you decide that you wanted to make a documentary about someone's passion for music?
I think there's a lot of interesting aspects about it. I like the idea of being able to use a musical score that's kind of contained and exists within the project. And I also just like, documenting things that are sort of around me. And, it's something I'm lucky to be surrounded by a lot of creative people and have a lot of sort of interesting things to focus on.
Since you're in school, what made you want to, how did you find time to document this film since you were probably still in school while it was going on?
Yeah, it was just after school all the time. It was kind of at the end of the year we were working on it. So like we would just after school like do like sessions filming. That wasn't as bad as like or that wasn't as time consuming as editing was. Editing took like was a lot more tedious, especially with a documentary because it's like you're going through a lot of footage and you're making a lot of decisions about what you're going to use and what you're not going to use.
Mhm.
Um, so that was definitely the more um, time consuming part of it. But it was just, it was just like hours at a time.
During your during your editing process, did you have to cut out a lot of footage that you actually filmed throughout your process?
Yes, yeah, I did. And also, you know, they're, sometimes you'll be, for me at least, being like a younger filmmaker, sometimes there'll
Mhm.
be a part where I'm like, man, I should have got this shot or coverage from here, and then you kind of have to work around it. But that's really how you learn. It's just adapting.
Nice. So, since you're going to be almost done, what you're going to be a junior or a senior this year?
Senior.
You're going to be a senior. Since you're almost done with high school, what are you planning to do after high school? Are you going to do stay in film, or are you going to plan on doing something else?
That's the plan. I can't imagine doing uh like I don't know, a normal job or whatever. My attempt will be to, go to film school and which I'm working on, and if that doesn't work out, just self finance a bunch of stuff.
So, film is definitely your passion and dream.
Yeah.
How did you find this passion for film?
You know, I, it's it's probably been there since I was like a kid,
Hmm.
and I realized like that people made things and they didn't just exist, inherently. And and so it was kind of there then, and I would mess around and make, you know, little movies on like iMovie or whatever. I had a little camera. Um but it was definitely just like later and just like I got really into like watching movies and trying to replicate things.
I saw on the Film Freeway that you have made films previous to this one.
Mm.
Have you ever had people watch them at all?
Yeah, for sure. The last I did a short called Unheard in 2019, which was a narrative short. It was silent, but it was shown on film, and we got to have a really successful film festival run with that. So, I'm excited that this is Four Tracks going to play in New York, and Unheard got to play in New York, and so
Four Tracks is really traveling.
yeah, for sure. So far so good.
It seems that's amazing. Um, as I watched, I kept wondering, is there some kind of meaning behind this documentary? I just felt like there was something that was holding me in to keep watching.
Mm.
And I was usually when you watch documentaries on something like music, someone's passion, there's always some kind of meaning or story behind that documentary. What is there a type of story or secret meaning to that film that you made?
It was just I approached the subject and I wanted to do it,
Mhm.
and he wasn't exactly sure, but I was like, no, I think he was just like, I'm not that interesting, and and it just kind of came from that. I just had a class with him. I thought he was a really interesting guy. I think everybody's interesting if you
Mhm.
um, find the right way to sort of portray them or document them, which should obviously be a truthful one. But
Mhm.
so it was just sort of that. I was a big fan of his music, and he hadn't put anything out, like released it, and so I was like, I think it'd be cool to do something like this, and then have his music also double as the score and that sort of thing.
Do you think doing this film is going to help him reach that career point where you can help him get to the career he wants to do?
I don't know. I think if he wants to, but I think I think he's killing it doing this thing. So
Doing his thing on his own.
we'll see what happens. I don't think we're not going for an Oscar or anything, but
But it's a chance for him at least, right?
oh, for sure, yeah.
What kind of skills and
And it,
strategies do you have for to make this film?
oh man, I was shooting on a camera I'd never shot on before,
Mhm.
so I had to learn a lot there. I thought a lot about like lighting. I'm really happy, especially when you watch the version that'll be on Film Freeway or for
Mhm.
like that, like the highest resolution version. I was really happy with like the way things turned out within there. Um, so it was really just that I had a small crew, which
Mhm.
was sometimes smaller than others. At its most, it was 3 people, and at its smallest, it was just me and one other person. But it just kind of came from that. Before the last period of the day, I had a study hall period,
Mhm.
so we would always just like prep shooting and with equipment and whatever that sort of stuff.
What was the most difficult like part in this filming process? Was it the lights, dealing with the camera, finding time after school?
The most difficult part was that one of the interviews we did, I messed up and the audio didn't record, and then I had to figure something out with that. But like a lot of what I thought the best footage was going to be was in there. So it's all about, to me, it's all about just like adapting with problem.
Mhm.
But at the time, that was frustrating.
Did you have a lot of fun and learn a lot of new things throughout the filming of your film?
Uh, abs- Absolutely, I think everything is a chance to get better, and my hope is the next documentary I do is a little better and a little bigger scale, and you know,
It was a big learning experience.
oh, totally, yeah. I mean, it's like because I've done a bit of narrative stuff, but I haven't done a bunch of documentary stuff, and there's especially with editing, I think I'm a much better editor.
Do you think editing was it easier doing it this time than the very first time you've ever edited?
Oh, well, there's just so much footage that
Mhm.
it was like a very tedious process, and also I wanted it to feel like kind of fluid, which is just something that you just kind of have to. For me, I just kind of have to feel, you
Mhm.
know, because I'm just self taught, with editing. Um, so that took a lot of work just to try and get the like all the sort of beats to feel cohesive and right in that area. But also, I think you know, I've learned how to pace things via editing better and whatnot.
Do you feel like when you're editing, it's kind of like trying to play music itself? Like it's like you find a beat and you follow that beat.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of sort of improvisation, because for me, especially with the documentary, with a film, like a normal film or a narrative film, you can have like storyboards and be like, okay, this is the first shot, this is the second shot, this is what the shot's going to be. But with the documentary, when I was shooting it, I was just getting a bunch of footage and just saying, hey, like what will be good, what's going to be the best. I can put it in an arrangement, and sometimes I did it and I was like, no, this isn't as good, and then I cut things out or whatever. But there's a lot of just kind of figuring it out as you go.
So as you're filming, it's more go with the flow and trust your gut kind of feel.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. Um, Throughout this film, how much trial and error did you have to go through, or was it more easy sail?
Um, you know, eh, there was a bit of trial and error, especially in the editing stuff. Like parts that I would just be like, man, this does not work, and having to then figure out how to make them work or how to change them, or
Mhm.
kind of getting the ending to feel motivated and stuff like that. But you, beyond that, it's a self-contained project, so I think it's sort of succinct enough that it wasn't like, it's not huge in scope. It was pretty, a pretty just like good experience.
Um, what were your thoughts throughout the beginning to end process?
Um, I don't know. They were kind of the same. I would, I maybe I lost more motivation to do it a little, because you burn out, like, or I get burnt out seeing like the same footage for like 100 hours.
Mhm.
You're like, yeah, I get it. Like the songs in that movie I've heard too many times, but with no offense to him, but also, uh, I think there were parts like recording the music that was like fun,
Mhm.
and like working with a crew that was fun, and just the like finishing it and whatever. And so far, we've had good luck with film festivals. So
So there was definitely a time where you wanted to give up, like this is so.
yeah, I was never going to give up, but I think there's a time where it could have been worse than it was.
Mhm.
But sometimes you just kind of have to separate something from yourself and just let it exist for a little bit, and then come back to it.
To gain that motivation back,
Yeah, for sure.
not working on it every single hour that you're awake.
Yeah.
So great. So I saw that this was your very first documentary. Did
Mhm.
you Was this something because you wanted to try something new and change it up a little bit, or did you just want to challenge yourself a little bit further, expand your horizons of film?
Yeah, I think documentary is really interesting. This was published as like the part of the online part of my school newspaper,
Mhm.
also. So I was like, okay, kind of, that kind of just works together. But I think it's that, you know, um, I think it's good to capture what's around you, and sometimes you can do that through a narrative way. In fact, the last short film I did, that's a narrative short film, just kind of came about from, I have this camera I can use. What would work well with this camera? I have an actor. What would work well with this actor? And just kind of figuring out how to work with the constraints we had. And I think Four Trucks is similar, but more so. It's like about sort of turning the camera to your surroundings, and what you can see, because when I think a lot of people, when they're young, they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna make a huge sci-fi movie, and
Mhm.
it's gonna be in space, and it's gonna be crazy, and like, I just don't think like most people can do that,
Yeah, you have to think more realistically, use what you have.
for sure. And I think that can be really positive because it just forces you to come up with better ideas.
Why did you name your film Four Tracks of any other name that could be a musical, or did you have like more of an attraction to the Four Tracks name?
Well, he was the music's recorded on a 4-track cassette,
Mhm.
and also I just could not think of a name, and it doesn't really mean anything, but I just thought it sounded nice, you know,
It does
and it
stay in the memory.
yeah, and also it's not a name of anything, so it's kind of a you know
It's an original name of a film.
yeah. There's there's no other one, which is a good thing because sometimes I think if you just name your movie a word, if it was just tracks, I'm sure there's like a million.
You want to try to be unique, so if someone looks your film's names up, it will be like,
Yeah,
"This is my film."
or it's just sort of has is a catchy name.
Mhm. How did you go about the process of trying to find someone for your documentary film?
I'm in school, so it's just kind of like who's like
Scouting
around me that I
around?
can turn the camera on. There's a Martin Scorsese quote where he says the best is the most personal, and I think it's like if you don't have the money or you don't have the means to make something that's like true to you or true to your environment, then it just works to you know turn your camera on to people. I know a lot of really good musicians that would be cool to do stuff with, but if I go down that route again, but I liked his music, and I was interested in the fact that I felt like it he wasn't like sharing it that much, you know.
Mhm. Do you feel like you have some kind of connection between him and you? Like you're both wanting to show your stuff a little bit at a time and you
Yeah,
kind of help each other a little bit?
for sure. Yeah, he's my homie. He's a good guy.
Do you think you guys became closer as friends or friends because of the film?
Definitely. I mean, he's graduated, so like that's just it just kind of goes. But no, yeah, he's a good guy, and I appreciate um like his full commitment to being in it.
Do you have any last thoughts on Four Track that you would like to say?
I think I've said my piece.
Okay, thank you so much, Ken, for being
Yeah,
part of the Plymouth Independent
thanks
Film
for having me.
Festival. Four Tracks will stream on Sunday, September 18th at 10:21 a.m. in our Northern Shores K through 12 student category.
Thank you.